Have you ever been to a crowded swimming pool and noticed that some people are very comfortable with swimming? They're diving off the high dive and jumping in the deep end, and other people want to go down the ladder, one rung at a time. Well, it's the same thing in Toastmasters. Some people join and they're already very comfortable with public speaking. They dive right in and take on the big roles. Toastmaster of the day, general evaluator. And other people want to ease into it. And to them, I always suggest the beginner roles of timer, Ah Counter, and grammarian. One of the things that makes these roles so easy is that each of them comes with a script and a log. At the beginning of the meeting, when you are asked to explain your role, you simply read the script. During the meeting, you'll fill out your log, and at the end of the meeting, you use that log to give your report. Easy peasy. Now, to access the script and log, you go to our club website, uab.toastmastersclubs.org. Click on Public Download. You do not need to be logged in as a member to get this information. You don't even need to be a member. And after you click on Public Download, click on the folder labeled Meeting Roles. Then click on the document that corresponds to your role, download that information, print it out, and bring it with you to the meeting. If you forget to bring it, ask the Sergeant at Arms. We usually have extra copies at the meeting. Now, I'm going to talk about the timer role in a separate video, but in this video, I want to talk about the Ah Counter and grammarian roles, starting with the Ah Counter role. Now, there is that script that you can read at the beginning to explain your role, but once you've done it several times, you might just want to ad-lib. For instance, if I was the Ah Counter, I might say, "Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Tonight, I will be serving as your Ah Counter. As such, I will listen carefully to everyone who speaks, and I'll be listening for your filler words, things like ahs and ums, maybe a so. I'll also listen for any repeats. And at the end of the meeting, I will give my report. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster." Now, I have a couple things I want to say about this role. The first thing is, you heard that I said in my introduction that I'd be listening carefully to everyone who speaks. Well, the only exception is if you have a guest who introduced themselves at the beginning of the meeting, you don't listen, you don't count those filler words. You don't report on those filler words. Now, if the same guest gives a table topic speech, then yes, you would report on those. The other thing I have to say is we have a policy that if someone uses an excessive amount of filler words, we don't tell Susie that she had 34 ums and 24 ahs. That's a little harsh. We just say, "Susie, you had a lot of filler words." Or maybe, "Susie, you had more than a dozen filler words. Your favorite was followed by ah." Something like that. So that we're still giving good feedback, but not being overly critical of a beginner. And sometimes beginners have that many filler words. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the grammarian role. When you print out your script and log, you'll notice that there are some blanks. And that is for you to fill in information about the word of the day. As the grammarian, you choose the word of the day. If there's a theme for the meeting, try and choose a word that goes along with that theme. A lot of people will go to Merriam-Webster's website and choose their word of the day, but you can choose it however you like. Try to arrive at the meeting a little bit early so you can write the word of the day along with its definition on the whiteboard. I also like to see what kind of speech it is, what part of speech. Is it a noun, an adjective, an adverb? And if we're meeting online, be prepared to have all that information typed up and ready to go into the chat. Now, your log is going to tell you that you're listening for three things. You are listening for usage of the word of the day. You're listening for improper grammar, and you're also looking for excellent grammar, interesting words or phrases. I think all too often people perform this role and they only report on usage of the word of the day and neglect the other two facets. So make sure that you're listening for all three of those things. Know that you have a limited time to give your report. Look at the agenda. Usually it's just a minute or two. So you're not going to be able to talk about every single interesting word or phrase that was used throughout the meeting. So be aware of that also. Keep to your time limits. The last thing I want to say about these two roles is that I mentioned at the beginning that they were both easy, very easy beginner roles. Well, that assumes that you are a good listener. These are listening roles. When I first joined Toastmasters, I was not a good listener. And I can remember that the Ah Counter would give their report at the end of the meeting, and I would think to myself, I didn't hear any of that. I didn't hear all those filler words. So what I started doing was pretending that I was the Ah Counter, and I would actually fill out a log and try and catch everyone's filler words and compare what I had to what the Ah Counter reported at the end of the meeting. And I worked on my listening skills. And I will say that I'm proud to say that now I'm a pretty good listener. And when the Ah Counter gives their report, sometimes I think to myself, you missed a few. So if you aren't a good listener, think about doing that to work on your listening skills. But if you are a good listener, these are very easy roles for you, Ah Counter and Grammarian. That is all I have to say on these roles, and I invite you to type something into the comments if you think there's something important that I've left out about these roles. And also look for other videos in this series that go over all of the other roles and some other information that new Toastmasters might like to have. Thank you for watching.